Yo. All right, let's dive into it. Monday, start of the month. Friday was basically the end of the month. And yeah, there wasn't really much on Friday, so I didn't really feel the need to make a video over the weekend. Friday, there's some end of month rebalancing, a lot of selling, with, really just no follow through. So yeah, there was a lot of selling, but then it kind of guided me through a little bit of a squeeze on Sunday Open last night. Because of all that selling, I was thinking, they might get squeezed. Actually, we'll see. They might be on the wrong side yet again. So we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about the TR pocket. I talked a lot about the TR pocket in previous videos, but some people I think missed them, and some people just still don't seem to have a grasp on it. So I will dive into it a little bit. We're just pretty specifically in this video, and then we can really hopefully get a true understanding. What is going on here? Oh, there we go. That was weird. Okay. Weekly open on NQ is what I took it on. Real quickly, I remember 437 seller from Friday, and eventually that got capitulated. And I said in the chat, I was like, hey, as long as 437 flips and holds, it's a long. I took a long 3 micros. I took 1 micro off right away and then let the other 2 ride. Very simply, I was like, there's a lot of selling Friday. That was mainly month-end rebalancing, but still, nevertheless, there's a lot of selling. And I was like, this potentially, the market has the ability, if it wants to, if it flips that level, which it did, and then there was like an active buyer participant that was, pushing price up, then it could really start to do a little bit of a squeeze. Didn't know how high the squeeze was going to be. I had some theories. I was targeting on NQ, I was targeting 607 and then 782. I'll talk about that. But yeah, it didn't quite make it there. It was a little bit shy. It actually rejected off of 591, which I had as another level, but I was meal prepping. I wasn't even watching. And, it didn't happen during the kill zone, so I don't know if I would have exited there. Sorry, 591 right there. I think I circled it right there. 591. Ignore that for now down there. But 591, 3.5 standard deviation from earlier in the week. This is the manipulation on Thursday last week. This has been a roadmap for kind of this move higher, based on the action that happened after that. So I still picture it distributing a little bit higher. We'll see. There was a pretty significant rejection again off of the 4 standard deviation, which also lined up with the TR pocket. So we'll talk about all that. So 3.5 lines up and rejects right there. And it rejected late in Asia session, before True Day Open, before Midnight Open. And before London Open. So I wasn't really paying attention and rejected. If it had rejected during London Kill Zone, I would have exited. That would have been it for me. Instead, I moved my stops in profit and got stopped to, I think, 545. That like me putting my level there, I could have retested. There was like an hourly gap and it could retest lower. But at that point, I'm looking for a squeeze. And I'm looking for the squeeze to continue. It's either going to continue and then really take off, even though we are still very overextended, but I'm not going to fade this market, that's for sure. Not until I see a seller really appear. But or it's just going to come down and actually start making its mark. There's a lot of agreement and price balancing up here. And so as soon as it broke out of that, I just took it at face value as it's going to move lower for New York session. And so I just there were sellers trying to be active 555, 550. So I set my stop 545. I was like, if we start to go below there, then market is likely moving lower and not just a bit lower, probably a lot. And then I just, had to go to bed and then wake up for New York session. So let's get into the open TR pocket. Like I was saying, because I mentioned that in chat, I was like, TR pocket low a day. Someone was like, because my original answer was 301, and they were like, how the hell did you get that? And I was like, bro, I'll show you. So Sunday open. This is the low that I care about. Significant low right here. Last significant low, not these lows. They might count for something. Friday, that is the last, I would say this one actually from Thursday is the last significant low. But the last key low that I care about is the Sunday open low. So Sunday open low to overnight highs. And I'll just switch it right here because that's on standard deviation, switch it to the fib. There's the fib. Okay, so Fibonacci. I know if you're new to trading, it might be a little bit intimidating-ish, kind of. When I first started trading, I was like leverage trading crypto, and I was just an absolute idiot and didn't know what I was doing. And I was just, I think trading on hopes and dreams. And if I thought it was going up, I wanted to go up, and that's what I would do, and vice versa. So yeah, when I saw Fibonacci, I was like, oh, I think I can figure this out without it. And that was dumb and naive. Just the sooner you understand, the better. So yeah, golden pocket is what a lot of people use. It's been around forever. ICT calls it OTE, optimal trade entry. 0.618 to 0.69 is how I have it. Other traders might have it as 0.618 to like 0.7 or 0.71, depending on how big they want this zone to be. I just like it in there. If it's going to be a strong continuation, I just want to see it wick in there and then take off. Maybe one more retest and then take off. That's it. 0.5, that's pretty normal, just 0.5 of the range. And then this actually, it might be tough to see. It says 0.382 right here. I don't use the 0.382 that much. I use it in two scenarios. I use it in a quick continuation move. So when the entire move of the day is not even close to done, when we're just firing off, and let's say we quickly retrace into a gap, like some 15-minute gap, and I'll look for stacked imbalances in there. And then if that stacked imbalances, let's say, line up with the 0.382, I will absolutely enter there. So I use it in that case. And then also when I mark out this kind of key low to high right there, I will mark it out because if the golden pocket's going to give a reaction, it should be able to get above that. It shouldn't spend much time below that after. It should maybe reject and then retest 0.5 or something and retest the golden pocket and then continue higher. But if it continuously rejects, and there's so many things. We're below VWAP, we're below midnight open, we're rejecting below that. So yeah, just starting to drag at that point. I just saw New York is just going to go for a low. And then the TR pocket right here, 1.272 to 1.3414. Very, very powerful. I would basically put it as, or the best way I could say it is like when significant highs and lows are breached, when price kind of shoots past it, when it capitulates past it for a little bit before it reverses, that's usually the level that it reverses at. I don't know why. I don't know what it stands for, TR pocket. That's just what it was called when it was shown to me. Probably stands for something, but I don't really care. So yeah, don't ask me. I don't know what it stands for. It's just called the TR pocket. Just leave it at that. You care about the settings. That's it. 1.272 to 1.3414. Call it whatever you want. But just have that region marked. Likely, if I get too many, followers, I don't have any plans for this YouTube, but edge decay is a real thing. And if I sense that, too many people know about this kind of thing, then I will stop mentioning. I might even delete these videos because edge decay is a real thing. Like, sure, in the prop firm space, not really, because you're not in live markets. But as soon as a strategy makes it into the live space, live markets, that's when edge decay becomes a thing, because that's when a lot of traders will have their entries and exits, whatever, at the same price point, and then the market will adapt. So golden pocket is just like mathematically a logical discounted area to enter at. TR pocket, I don't know if it has that same, if you could really say that kind of thing. But anyways, yeah, so TR pocket's a thing I rarely hear it talked about on social media. I think almost never, actually. So yeah, it seems like a pretty well-guarded secret. So, don't go yapping about this to everyone, but if you happen to watch these videos, you're welcome. So it hits that 300 level just after I see the reaction and enter right away. This is bad. I'm still making my coffee. But I had a long from London, basically. Oh, Jesus. Why is that doing that? Oh, that's not that. Jeez. It's the previous video. I had a long from London, yeah, where I see 437, where was that? Where I see 437 flip. Basically, the London opens like a little bit of selling, 437 flips, right? And then it, did I say that already? I can't remember if I did. But anyways, yes, long from London. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. So I exited. So I was already well into profit. So I'm chilling. I'm not trying to do anything too risky. I'm at that point, like, I'm saying too risky as in like, I'm not trying to get chopped up, number one. So I want to take really good entries, and I know the TR pocket is a really good entry. I know if anything, if it fails, then we're continuing lower, and then I can reposition that way. But if it holds, then I have a really good entry. But I'm still going to be aggressive about taking profits, because at that point, the worst form of tilt that you can get put in, well, okay, the worst form is going from a winning day to a losing day. The second worst in my mind is when you have a lot of profits and then you end up with like half of them or a third of them. Like that kind of guts you a little bit. Like, sure, you didn't lose money. That's good. But I'd almost like losing money on a day that you followed your strategy and you followed all your rules. It seems better. Like you can really justify that in your mind. You can be like, yeah, you know what? This was just an outlier in my strategy. I followed my rules. Good for you. You exited when you should have. You didn't tell. Like you can be proud of that. But if you're significantly in profits and then you take some dumb trades or whatever, if you over risk or whatever it is, and then you give away half of them, that just feels careless. And then you kind of really beat yourself up about that. You just go like, why did I do that? Like, why am I being so greedy? So at that point, yeah, I get that entry. I see 437 rejects again. Market seems to remember it still. Sellers still are looking to defend it. And this is the top or the bottom end now. We've flipped the golden pocket, so it's looking to defend there as well. A lot of things, VWAP, it's all lining up, you know. And then, yeah, rejects there. So my stop's in profit, 370 something, I think. And then, yeah, just to get taken on profit, watch it retest the TR pocket again. You know, at that point, I just wanted to see more evidence, you know, because at that point, when it's retesting the TR pocket, I posted this in the chat. I was like, guys, 784 on ES, 75.84, mega selling. Look at all this. Mega selling. There's almost so many big sellers, I can't even see the tape. But yeah, so huge selling at the lows. Look at this, man. Sellers are really trying to take this down to probably 75.60 at least, 75.50, and retest there. And there is just buyers scooping this up. Like, I don't know. That is crazy to me. Seeing a lot of selling like that, and it's like, it's one thing if then they just chop it and balance it, and then they make a move lower after. But seeing them just attempt, so hard at selling, and then a buyer just absorbs and then initiates up, and then, you know, has news on their back too. Oh my God, sellers not in control yet. You know, they could be at any time. I don't know. Every day I'm prepared for it, but I don't see any proof of it yet. I don't see it there. There's still like the fact they couldn't even crack down there. I was like, wow, you know, that's something. So that level's holding, TR pocket's holding on NQ. Yeah, and so I'm like, guys, if 7584 holds, this squeeze is for real. I took a little bit of a later entry. Again, same thing. Once I see, where was my second entry? I think I just entered after I saw 7584 start to squeeze and move up, and I was like, well, the TR pocket might be just a very valid low there. And then I just started to chop, and I just didn't want to hold through the chop. I want to go to the gym. I want to get on with my day. One of the best feelings ever is making a large amount of money and then going on with your day and doing whatever the hell you want. And then just be like, yeah, I don't care. I already made my bag. I'm good. So yeah, a lot of chop right there. Eventually, yeah, get news, squeezes up, continues up, and it hits my price target later. You know, I was like, yeah, I could have held through that and whatever, but whatever. Who cares? There's going to be so many more moves. Doesn't matter. I don't need to catch the whole chunk of every move kind of thing, right? You know, that's not a functioning way to trade or believe that is possible to trade. So yeah, continues to move on. And so we got the TR pocket down there, right? Sunday low, overnight high, TR pocket down there, 1.272, 1.3414. That was just marking the golden pocket there. That's marking at the high, and this is just marking at the low within there, but I'm going to use it after this right here. So we can see now, so assume you caught the low right there. You're in at 300 the TR pocket, right? Okay, or wherever, you know, you get in longs, wherever, and you're holding. And you're holding obviously until what's normal? London highs, right? A lot of traders leave a lot of money on the table with London highs. So yeah, overnight, there was a large seller that was protecting price up here, probably because then, you know, this is all in tandem. New York is then going to scoop the low and then move it higher, you know, whatever. So but either way, there was a seller really defending here. When that seller capitulates, it's not just going to be a little like, boop, you know, there was an attempt, but when you're really going to see a reversal is when you see a large capitulation on the other side. So actually, let's go back to here, because I noticed this about I noticed this just about a lot of traders in general, especially ones that follow ICT and they look at stacked relative highs, lows, or whatever, and they go, oh, there's so much, you know, there's so much liquidity there. There's so much liquidity there. That needs to be taken. You know, okay, yeah, these will get taken eventually too. That's not how it works. It's not, it's not there needs to get taken, so there's so much liquidity. Because like, sure, there was one guy who was saying, he's like, oh yeah, I was hesitant to take it down there because it didn't take these lows. Well, number one, ES made an SMT, so it took that low. It took whatever, what is that, Friday low? It took Friday low. So there's your sequential SMT. You're chilling. Just because you see all these relatively equal lows here does not mean they need to be tagged. The reason these lows exist here is just because there was a lack of buying down there. Why was there a lack of buying down there? Because sellers were not willing to sell down there anymore. Maybe they were like, that's too cheap to sell. Maybe it was just because there's such a strong buyer that the buyer is like, I'm scooping up anything below here and taking it up here where there's more value up there. And then same thing on the highs, flip side on the highs, when it gets all the way up here and it's at these highs and it's making all these relatively equal highs and it keeps coming down. Well, there's no more buyers that are willing to buy out there. And the seller takes over, they realize that, they sell it back into value. The best way I can describe this in an easy to understand analogy is eggs. Think of it like an old school egg market, whatever, right? You're buying eggs. Well, let's say, I'm going to use this price region as a point. So there's a shortage of eggs. Price rises in eggs, right? There's shortage, price goes up, it's really high. And all of a sudden people are like, well, that's way too expensive. They no longer want to pay that much for eggs. So then they're going to maybe not eat eggs for the week. I don't know. Then there's a surplus of eggs. There's so many eggs. Well, then the guys selling the eggs now need to lower the prices. They go in a race. They're lowering prices. There's a capitulation on the other end. Well, then there's a very willing buyer participant down there who's very much willing to buy at that price. They're going to buy until there's an agreement. And the agreement happens in this value area right there. So that is your basic explanation of auction market theory. Sorry, that was a larger side. So that is why sometimes you see lows get left like that, is because there's not a willing seller below there. There is sellers attempting there, but there's so much buying that's happening on there, absorbing, and they're just wanting to push it back into value area higher. They don't want any sellers to gain control because if sellers are able to gain more control below these lows, well then more sellers will join them. More sellers will be like, oh yeah, wow, something's changed. We need to add on, we need to sell too. And so if there's buyers that want to push this market higher, they're not going to let that happen. They're going to scoop it up, they're going to absorb it and push it higher. And this market will eventually turn around and then we'll eventually see all these things get, nicely hit. This will happen probably aggressively at one point, but it's not going to happen until there's, some piece of news in the market, something that flips bearishly or something where all of a sudden the market then realizes that it is overpriced and then it starts to sell and there's no more willing buyers up here and then sellers take control and then they start moving it lower. It's that simple. So TR pocket, flip side, right here. So once let's say you're in at 300 or wherever, like I was saying, you're a buyer and you're holding today and you're looking for where can you project? Well, TR pocket on the flip side literally gave you high of day right there. So and now we're actually, we're into Asia Open right here. So this will be interesting to see. We'll look at the tape too and see what's holding here as well. So you get high of day taken, it hits all London highs, and you don't want to leave money on the table. TR pocket is a great first place to target. If assuming there's no huge selling rejection right after the highs get taken. Likely, even if there is a little bit of rejection, that just means it's going to bounce back in value and then it's probably going to eventually go and hit that. You see the TR pocket reject high of day. I mapped out the standard deviation on ES just because it's during lunch hour. There's some manipulation, I can't remember, some news. So that lunch seems to be a key open these days, so I always mark it out. And it looks like, it's rejecting on there. For the rest of the week, very interesting. Honestly, I want this level to hold right now. We'll put it this way. If the rest of the week is going to sell, or if we're at least going to start the rest of the week with selling, let's say, so look at this, the 4 standard deviation actually lines up with the TR pocket right there. So those two line up perfectly. That would have been your perfect exit. If this rejects much lower, especially if it loses 437 again, then I don't really have much hope in then this getting hit and rejecting. So the sell case would be, for the week, would be this holds right here, kind of the 500, 450 area. This holds and eventually moves up, throughout, and then rejects, comes lower. That's sweeping Monday highs, rejects all the 4.5. That would be perfect. So that would be a perfect sell case idea. if this turns out to just be like the current high, and then we actually come through here and continue selling, then I'll be looking for this actually to come through and probably retest around the low 100s, and then continue buying. I'm not going to believe in any type of, that any significant high or top is formed until I see like significant proof of it in the tape where a seller really takes control, but also like I'm talking like a large scale change in direction. I won't, until I see that happen during New York, where I see just like essentially a large seller put in his mark right at open and then protect his position throughout the day and aggressively move away from it. And then we hit, key levels where there's been aggressive buyers before that have protected price and they fail, at that point, then I'll be very confident. But so far that hasn't happened. So right now, if this level holds right here, if we have 500 to 450 hold, then it's possible we might actually move up over the night and then reject maybe London or New York at that 785 area. If not, and that was just the high, kind of at least for a little bit, then I'll look for us to rebalance somewhere lower here. You could quickly game this out. I don't see this happening, but let's just for argument's sake, I would probably take that low, I think. That's the thing. It's like, which one of these lows do you take? I would take this low just because, look, golden pocket. This kind of makes sense, like this out of this kind of distribution. Because before that we were still chopping up. So this is where it's really started to distribute. So here's this last significant low, and then all the way up to this high. So then I would look for us to literally maybe come at least as low as the 220. But I would really look for a good reaction around 30,110-ish area. Lines up right with the golden pocket right there. So, and that is previous week mid, which is kind of like a slept on goated level. So we'll see. That is the case for us to then like come down, sweep deep below Monday lows and then actually continue buying into the week. The flip side is us holding this level, 450, 500 level, coming up, sweeping Monday highs into that 780 and then rejecting and then attacking much lower kind of during the week, maybe paired with some bearish news. I don't know. I think we're at 22 minutes. I think that pretty much does it. I don't think there's anything else to really talk about that. I think it's pretty straightforward with the tape and the TR pocket. Pretty well explained. I don't see it. I mean, just looking at this open right now, let's just go through it. Let's see what's going on. Did open, just quite straight lower, literally straight lower on ES, and almost there's like, I don't even think a wick on ES. So a lot of selling at open. I mean, there's a lot of selling into the close too. Some big sells right there. So it looks like they're trying to, I want 75, 95 to hold on ES if we're going to continue higher overnight. Otherwise, if it fails, then I feel like it's going to fail out to 75, 60, 75, 50 area. Retest the buyer down there. We will see. But I don't want this video to be too long. I think I explained pretty much everything I had to. Hopefully that helps you understand TR pocket. Went into pretty decent depth there, but use it. The more you use it, the more experience you get with it, the more you'll start to just understand like the highs and lows that you should market on, and it'll just be interesting to watch you see how it plays out. Pretty powerful. Anyways, that's all for today. All right, take care, bye.